Good morning, YouTube. Well, today I'm at a place I think you're going to find interesting. If you've ever listened to A Prairie Home Companion or watched the movie Heaven's Gate, you get the idea that Minnesota was settled by a lot of Norwegians in the 1800s. And you get the impression that that's when they started coming over here. But did they? Today I'm at the Runestone Museum, and we're going to explore that little idea. So let's go inside and take a look. So this is the Kensington Runestone, and it was found in 1898, just down the road from the museum here. And it's believed it was placed here in 1362 by Vikings, and when it's translated, it says 8 Uitlanders and 22 Northmen on an acquisition journey from Vinland far to the west. We had a camp by 2 shelters, 1 day's journey north from the stone. We were fishing one day. After we came home, we found 10 men red from blood and death, Ave Maria, saved from evil. There were 10 men by the inland sea to look after our ships, 14 days journey from this peninsula or island, and then the year. So yeah, Vikings were here. Of course, one of the big questions is, how did they get to here? I mean, everybody thinks coming up through the Great Lakes, you got Niagara Falls and all that, everything else between here and there. They didn't have to come that way. They would come over here from Norway, Greenland, and they could have looped up through Hudson Bay, down the Nelson River, through Lake Winnipeg and down the Red River, and ended up here. So it's not unfeasible that they would have explored that. And of course, Vinland was over in here, Nova Scotia. So they could have been exploring the coast and came in here looking for, who knows? There's some places that they found in northern Minnesota of old iron mines. There was enough iron laying around. Of course, the Vikings used iron. So they could have been here doing that, just exploring, and left the runestone behind. And there's been other artifacts like this Norway lakebeard axe. It was found on an island in Norway Lake here in Minnesota, about 15 miles from here. And so it's one of them, there are definitely were Vikings coming to the area. A couple of more interesting things that were found, definitely Viking in origin. Say a fire steel, found in 1871, about 5 miles north of Climax, Minnesota. And then this more axe was found in Mora, Minnesota. Definitely of Viking origin. And there's never been another of these fire steel found anywhere in North America, but they do have examples exactly like this in the museums in Norway. So the man who discovered the runestone, Olaf Ullman, him and his sons found it in tangled up in the roots of a tree that had blown down, and it was originally called a hoax, and the family was ridiculed and caused all kinds of problems for the family. And but eventually more people decided, actually they started using it as a stepping stone at their house. Then in the early 1900s, a man who believed it to be true got it, deciphered it, and at the time there wasn't enough known about runes when it was found that anybody could have been able to carve it as a fake and have it come out looking and being correct for the 14th century, early 14th century Vikings. This is a 3/4 replica of a Viking ship. And maybe you can see where the term shiplap came from, where the plank above is lapped over the top of the one below. And of course, this would have been filled, with something to caulk it and the tiller for the ship was basically attached by a rope through the hull and held down with leather and some pegs. So I can't imagine in a storm trying to keep that all together. So one of the other clues about the Vikings having been here is that when the French fur traders and the missionaries got here a couple centuries later, they found a tribe that had a lot of blonde and blue-eyed Indians. So definitely some Vikings stayed. And connected to the museum is Fort Alexandria. We're in the town of Alexandria, and it was the fort was in 1862. There was talk of an Indian uprising, and the governor sent a message that everybody should arm themselves for safety, and pretty much everybody fled the area, went down to St. Croix or Sauk Center, and then they sent the militia in. In 1863, they built a stockade, 16-foot high fences, had the militia here, and were able to, people came back because they had the protection of the military. So they got a couple of, few log structures around here. This one, you can tell that they're hand hewn by the cut marks from the broad axe, and this looks like they joined two buildings together to make the general store and post office. Let's take a look inside. Looks like they'd whitewash the walls, make it a little brighter in here. Nice loom. A nice display of goods and whatnot would have been available back then. And next door to it is a log cabin from 1867, and nice little cannon. Again, hand hewn, but this one is quite tall, and that would be because they had the loft up above, probably sleeping and some storage, and so I had a kitchen area, cooking on that the fireplace there, and then bedroom next door. More than likely, this would have been not the children's area, but probably would have been the adults, and the children would have slept upstairs. And apparently, the parents here would like to torture their kids because they had an accordion. And of course, the Lutheran church mainstay of Norwegian families. I got a couple examples of smokehouses. You know, log smokehouse, and hang your hams and your sausage and get the smoke going. Pretty sure the door would have been a lot lower. Keep the smoke up there so you can scoot in and add a little bit to it. Next door is one, as you can see, this one, the door is definitely low, and they had one up high probably to vent the smoke. Yeah, but he used this as, it was a utility shed, 1883, and then 1886 it was used by as a smokehouse by Karl Kraus, a Polish immigrant. Wonder if he's any relation to my friend Becky. So this guy is Big Oli, and he was created to accompany the Runestone to the 1965 World's Fair in New York. And I think this is a good spot for me to leave you and get on the road and see what kind of interesting places I could find next. So for me and Big Oli, see you later, YouTube.